current episode quickly coming to a close, I wanted to share a build I've been cooking up for a while now, but haven't been able to make as I've been battling pneumonia for the past 2 weeks. But now that I'm pretty much back to normal, I wanted to give you guys one of the most fun builds I've used in a very long time. And though today's build will feature some incredibly powerful arc-centric mods from the current artifact, I promise this will thrive regardless of artifact mods, future-proofing it for future episodes. So today, we've got a hyper-aggressive arc Warlock build that lets you fly into hordes of enemies with crazy levels of damage resist, healing, and ability regen with chain lightning devastation that we haven't seen since pre-nerf Hoyle. This gameplay loop is stupidly fun and easy to pick up thanks to its ability to cycle damage resist, ad clear, and crowd control all in one. I'm above, and if you enjoyed today's video, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. Now, let's get into it. Today's build is going to focus on 3 key components: ability synergy, our exotic armor, and the centerpiece of today's build, the Ergo Sum. If you guys haven't farmed out a proper roll of this exotic just yet, it is easily one of the most powerful weapons in the game right now. And with 2 weeks of downtime before the next episode, it's the perfect time to grind for one. Now, while you're stuck in the Pale Heart for hours on end, make sure to take care of yourself with Geology, a skincare brand celebrating their 6th anniversary who were kind enough to sponsor today's video. Geology is different from most brands since they cater their products directly to what your skin needs. These aren't generic one-size-fits-all solutions, these are personalized skincare sets for you and you alone. And it's not just me saying this. They have over 500,000 happy customers and over 10,000 perfect reviews. Researching what's right for your skin can be pretty overwhelming, but Geology streamlines all of this with a quick 60-second quiz that will deliver a personalized solution to your door. It's quick, convenient, and most importantly, it works. Starting right now, you can click my link down below and use code ABOVE70 for 70% off your trial test kit and 50% off any additional add-ons. Thank you again to Geology for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the build. My exotic perk of choice is Arc Conductor, as it provides 50% resistance to all incoming arc damage while simultaneously providing chain lightning effects that give us ad clear for 6 seconds each time we use the heavy attack. I like to pair this with the waveframe variant of the sword for its ease of use and the speed it provides on successive follow-up attacks. You don't even need to take incoming arc damage to activate Arc Conductor like you do with Risk Runner. Simply heavy attack with Ergo Sum to activate the perk. You can then spam light attacks to send out powerful AoE shockwaves that will end up being one of the most powerful parts of this build. Why, you ask? Well, damage resistance is nice, but since we don't have constant restoration ×2 or devour like we do on other subclasses, we're gonna abuse the most powerful crowd control fragment in the game instead. Let me introduce you to Spark of Beacons, a fragment that allows us to blind enemy targets each time we secure kills with arc weapons while amplified, which happens constantly with the passive tick damage from Arc Conductor. This means we not only have crazy damage resist, we're also constantly blinding enemies as we secure kills with Arc Conductor's tick damage and any light attacks from the Ergo Sum as well. This is extremely strong in on-level content, but needed some perfecting to make it viable in endgame activities, which ultimately led me to Mantle of Battle Harmony being the perfect fit for our exotic slot. First, it allows us to charge our super incredibly fast, and once we have it, we get a free weapon surge ×4 that grants us a 25% damage bonus to weapons matching our subclass at all times, without even having to slot surge mods on our boots. This makes the AoE tick damage from Arc Conductor far more reliable with Spark of Beacons, which makes this build infinitely more powerful. You're just passively killing and blinding enemies constantly. We can even throw on arc heavy weapons like the Wendigo, Crux Termination, or Song of Your Ute to take advantage of this even further. Mantle also frees up mod slots on our boots to run healing-centric perks and repeatedly benefit from things like recuperation and Better Already each time we pick up Orbs of Power, which we'll be generating constantly, giving us much better survivability. One of the biggest drawbacks of Arc Warlock is the fact that both of the supers are pretty underwhelming, but with Mantle of Battle Harmony, we can turn those underwhelming supers into a free damage boost, enhancing both the Ergo Sum's base and chain lightning damage. And because of this interaction, we likely won't be spamming Chaos Reach all that often, but with how quickly you regain super energy thanks to Mantle of Battle Harmony, it's still useful when dealing with tankier targets. And since we aren't using armor charges for surges, we can slot special finisher on our class item and store the armor charges when we pick up orbs of power instead. This completely removes the normal decaying timer that surge mods normally come with, which may not seem like a big deal at first, but we can actually convert those stored armor charges into special finishers, which constantly feeds Ergo Sum ammo to spam these abilities as much as we want. So to recap, we already have crazy ad clear capabilities thanks to our arc conductor Ergo Sum, 50% resistance to all incoming arc damage, a 25% boost to outgoing arc damage thanks to Mantle of Battle Harmony, permanent blinding crowd control thanks to Spark of Beacons, and a finisher that generates special ammo for near 100% uptime on this gameplay loop. This build is already insane, and we've hardly scratched the surface. With Ergo Sum being the focal point of this aggressive in-your-face build, we're rarely going to be sitting in a rift to take advantage of Arc Souls. We'll still utilize healing rifts in emergency situations, but it's not going to be the primary focus of this build. This aggressive playstyle synergizes perfectly with Lightning Surge as it allows you to blink into crowds of enemies and jolt them to make our chain lightning effects from Ergo Sum even stronger. And this will pair perfectly with heavy-handed on the gauntlets as it will instantly generate orbs of power when we secure melee kills to top up on health and continue slaying ads. Our next aspect is Electrostatic Mind, which creates ionic traces each time we defeat an arc debuff target and makes us amplified when we collect them. This is vital to our build as two of the most powerful seasonal artifact mods rely on being amplified. First up, we have Galvanic Armor, which grants a stackable 30% damage resist while amplified, and we also have Shield Crush, which provides enhanced grenade damage and regen while amplified as well. We can then pair this with Elemental Siphon to produce additional ionic traces on arc weapon final blows, which enhances ability uptime and makes it even easier to become amplified. And lastly, we have Shock and Awe, which causes arc final blows to spawn bursts of lightning for improved ad clear and extra sources of jolt. These are obviously all very powerful in their own right, but none of them are essential to using this build in the future. On the helmet, you'll want to utilize Harmonic Siphon to create orbs of power on rapid arc final blows, something that will be happening constantly with Arc Conductor. We'll also utilize Hands-On for some bonus super energy when using Lightning Surge, and Heavy Ammo Finder to top off our heavy weapons since Special Finisher already takes care of Ergo Sum. On the gauntlets, you'll want to equip Momentum Transfer for bonus melee energy when dealing grenade damage, and Heavy Handed for even more orb generation when securing melee final blows. On the chest piece, I recommend rocking an elemental resist of your choosing, which is flexible thanks to Ergo Sum providing 50% DR to incoming arc damage at all times, which frees it up for another type of resist. We can then pair this with Concussive Dampener to reduce incoming splash damage, and a Harmonic Reserve to increase the ammo capacity of Ergo Sum and arc heavy weapons. With all the orbs we'll be generating, we'll want to take advantage of recuperation and better already on the boots for instant burst healing and the ability to trigger health regen, with an Arc Scav providing us with even more ammo on pickup. And lastly, on the class item, you'll want to equip Powerful Attraction to absorb all the surrounding orbs of power when casting your Rift, Outreach to reduce our melee cooldowns even further, and Special Ammo Finisher, which we've already touched on in detail. As for our fragments, first up we have Spark of Resistance, which grants us 25% damage resist when surrounded by 3 or more enemy combatants, which is pretty much all the time with this playstyle. This also stacks with tier 10 resilience, resist mods, arc conductor, and galvanic armor for silly levels of damage resist. Next up, we have Spark of Beacons, which allows our special and heavy arc weapon final blows to create blinding explosions while amplified. And since Electrostatic Mind spawns ionic traces that make us amplified every time we defeat a blinded target, this creates a perfect loop of crowd control and bonus damage for Ergo Sum, along with the ability to stun unstoppable champions. Spark of Amplitude causes rapid defeats to spawn additional orbs of power while amplified, which enhances our ability regen and survivability even further. And finally, Spark of Shock allows our arc grenades to jolt enemy targets for intrinsic overload stuns. What I love about this build is the fact that it breaks away from the prismatic meta that has been so overused since Final Shape's release, and offers an aggressive playstyle that absolutely dominates endgame content. It has so much synergy between aspects, fragments, exotics, armor mods, and even the ammo economy economy that allows us to constantly chain lightning, jolt enemies, generate orbs like crazy, and blind everything around you, all while being nearly unkillable with all of our stacking DR. And as always, the link to this build can be found down in the description below. Thank you again to Geology for sponsoring today's video, and if you enjoyed it, a like and subscription would be greatly appreciated. And a reminder that you can catch me live doing contest dungeon helps all weekend long when the new season drops over at twitch.tv/above. Anyways guys, that's it from me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.